What's up, YouTube? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Oscar. This is my channel where I talk about reality, awareness, consciousness, connecting with spirituality, and finding your true nature beyond the conventional. So, let's jump right into it. Today's topic, today's lesson, today's perspective for our evolution is ego dynamics, right? A new, fresh perspective that I've come into a fuller understanding of about myself, right? That helped me to understand the ego and really see it in a different light, okay? And I'm going to be talking about some pros and cons of the ego. So, jumping into the first part of the video, what is the ego, right? How do I view the ego? And so I want to share with you the way I view this ego is obviously from a state of acknowledging my true self, my higher self, and knowing that I'm beyond the ego, first of all. I'm not looking at myself from the egoic mind. I'm looking at myself from my higher mind, my higher self, right? However you may want to call it, that we all have access to. So, how do I view it? How do I like to describe it? So, we come down here to this physical plane of existence, this material plane, to express, to learn, to advance, to evolve, right? And so the ego is what we've self-identified with, what we chose to self-identify with in this lifetime from that higher portion of ourself, that higher soul, right? Again, different labels, however you want to call it. And so we come down here with this ego, and essentially, the way I like to see it is that it is an accessory. It is literally an accessory to this biological vehicle that we have here in this lifetime. This bag of flesh and bones that you're looking at has a ego. And so another cool thing that I like to talk about, and that it's a part of this world, is that the fabric of reality itself is holographic in nature. It is like a simulation, a matrix. So what starts to happen is that you start to see things in a different light. Once you start to really find out what this universe, what this reality is composed of, right? The fabric of it, the essence of it, which is energy at its core, intelligent energy at that, is when you start to see how you can literally view yourself as a bag of flesh and bones. That you don't have to be so attached to the self-identification of being human, because you are beyond this human vessel, and that you are just this, you could say, light, this beautiful light shining, operating through this vehicle that has the structure of the ego. And the thing about the ego is that you have it available to you at all times, okay? Obviously until you personally transcend it, if you so choose to, through your own personal development and spiritual progress. But what I want to talk about in this video is, yes, getting to that next level, if that's your decision, but also to understanding what it means to have an ego and how you can view your ego for a tool. Like I said, I view it as a tool now for your evolution. So you don't necessarily have to say, oh my God, my ego is getting in the way. No, I want you to see things from a higher perspective, an all-embracing and all-loving perspective, where you're no longer identifying from the victim of the ego, but as above the ego. You're viewing the ego. You're viewing the way your ego, your self-identity interacts with other people. You're seeing how you were created through all your past traumas and pains and experiences molded you into this person with certain triggers, with certain expressions, how you communicate with others, with certain fears, right? With certain habitual egoic patterns of behaving and communicating with the world. And so, when you start to do this, when you start to break things down like this, slowly but surely, through your own intent and desire, you start to shift from that ego consciousness, from just viewing yourself as this human and not really having any control, any altered perception on who you are. Now you start to view yourself as, okay, I see now with this ego who I am not, who I don't want to become. And then that gives you that new understanding of, wow, okay, I can actually do better for myself. I can actually be my best version. I can actually tweak myself here and there. I can reshape, restructure who I am in this world. And then a new understanding, a new realization, a new flexibility of who you are starts to emerge. Okay, and it is all through you using that awareness, that key of awareness, because you are able to watch yourself in every moment. So in this video, I want to talk about that when you begin to watch yourself and you start to take a step back and really watch your egoic mind, you start to see that another big realization starts to happen. If you haven't had it yet, hopefully I'm able to plant that seed for you. That when your ego is behaving, interacting with others, and you have certain triggers and certain patterns that you behave on a daily basis, and you haven't fixed them yet, or you haven't transcended them yet, or evolved from them yet, you'll see how whatever it is that you're sending out to reality, to the universe, is being reflected back towards you. So yes, all those ego tendencies, for example, let's say I'm selfish. I only care about myself, and I like to take and take and take from people. I'm gonna find myself in a reality, in circumstances, and in situations where people are gonna be taking from me. And I'm gonna be like, oh my God, everyone's taking from me. Like, my goodness, can someone give once in a while? But that's when that next big realization comes. That when you, again, going back to our reality being holographic in nature, you're now starting to remember what it is that's going on here. You're starting to realize how this world and life actually operates, and that it is actually working like a mirror, reflecting back to you what you are internally in your external environment. Everything is internalized and therefore reflected back to you in your external world. Let that sink in, because it's one of the biggest realizations that you will have, that will allow you to really start to create and influence your reality. And so you start to see this about yourself, and you start to see that literally everyone's taking from you because you haven't made that change within yourself. You haven't evolved from that egoic state of mind of behaving with other people, and therefore you will not see any other, outcome until you finally decide, okay, let me be more giving. And then as soon as you make that shift, just by you becoming giving, you are shifting your consciousness to a more gracious state, more abundant state, and therefore you are now calibrating your life and your reality to flow with harmony. Why? Because now there's a balance. Everything's about balance. And so now you can harmoniously give and take, give and take, give and take. And you're going to start to see how it starts to become very, very flowing, like a river. Wherever you go, whatever you do, you'll see how you give parts of yourself to others, to situations, to your work, to your passions, and things start to flow back into your life. Money, love, success, fame, whatever it is that you desire, or that you're after in this lifetime. So, this is the egoic mind. This is the ego. But remember, it is only an accessory, it is only a tool to show you and to demonstrate what you are not. And that it's always showing you in everyday life that you can take a step back and you can take a step up, and you can go beyond that ego. You can go beyond that egoic self. There's many levels to consciousness. There's many levels to realizing and becoming your true self and your best version. And it's all up to you to decide how far you want to go up the scale of ascending into those higher levels of consciousness and awareness. And that ego is going to be that main steering wheel. While you're living your daily life, you're going to always encounter all your ego patterns, all the ways that you've self-identified with your life, all the way you've self-identified with others, with yourself, will be reflected back to you. And you might not be conscious of it at first. And maybe it might not be happening so frequently, but nonetheless, it is happening, and it is happening for a reason. Remember, I said that we are here to learn, advance, grow, and evolve. To love. Learn the lessons of love. And so, if your ego is getting in the way of you loving others, then you're going to be getting circumstances and situations showing you that you need to make the proper adjustments so you can reach the next level, reach the next lesson, and become your best version. So I want you to take a step back. I want you to see, maybe, picture, imagine, go back in the past and see what type of patterns of my self-identity that I've created, that has formed this ego, that has formed these thoughts and these emotions that are always being triggered. What are the patterns in my life? What is being shown to me on a daily basis that I need to fix? And when you start to do this, and when you start to use the ego as it is meant to be used, in my opinion, right? As a tool for your growth, and you start to put your arm around it like a buddy, right? Within your mind, of course, right? And you guys can tag along in this lifetime harmoniously, because you understand that you are beyond the ego and that it is here to show you and allow you to accept who you are becoming and to really identify what it is that you do not want to become. Again, very crucial, because it will show you. But you can also discipline your ego. So you can discipline it, you can transcend it, reaching those states of enlightenment. So all that's available to you. But like I said, there's many levels to it. But the ego essentially is a character that you've created about yourself. Again, you are beyond the character. And you have every moment to see what your character is trying to be. And one last thing I want to mention through my experience, right, that I've personally gone through with my ego, is that when I first started my path of self-discovery, of finding out my passions, my purpose, why I came down here into this damn physical realm to begin with, right, is that I noticed that my ego was trying to steer me away from my true purpose and passion. So maybe you can resonate with this. I start to see myself in every day going to work and just hanging out with people that wasn't in alignment with my higher soul, higher intelligence, higher self. That I was just hanging out with people. I was only ending up in situations and places that my ego liked. The person that I created, that I self-identified with, right? The Oscar that I thought I needed to be. I was hanging on to that. And every decision I made was coming from my ego. So I would find myself in these places and I would be scratching my head like, man, I really don't like this. I really don't like these people. I really don't like to be in these places. And I sure as hell don't like to be working this job. So why am I working it? Why am I hanging out with these people? Why am I going to these places? So these are questions I started to ask myself. Self-inquiry. Again, another tool for self-realization, becoming your best version. And also part of the ego. Because who will ask those questions? Your ego in your head. But that is your opportunity to see it as a tool. Remember, you can either get drawn in by your ego, or you can take a step back. Stop playing the character for a second in your life. Stop being the ego mind. Stop operating from the ego mind. Take a step back. Take a breath. Try to forget or put a pause on all the things that are going on in your life and really investigate and ask yourself, am I operating from my ego mind? Are my decisions my purpose? Am I working at a job? Am I hanging out with people because it pleases my ego, my self-identity, who I think society wants me to be? Or am I operating from this place of love and passion and alignment? Are things flowing in my life? Is everything going perfectly? Like, wow, I couldn't have planned it better, right? Or are you encountering a bunch of obstacles on this path of you trying to strive for something that your ego wants? Because a lot of the times when you are operating from that ego, you are thinking from that space of the ego and expressing yourself in that way, you're going to encounter a lot of obstacles because you're out of alignment with your highest path and purpose. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it allowed you to see yourself in a new light. For your evolution, leave me a like, comment, what's going on with your ego? What are some struggles you've encountered or you've identified with your egoic self? Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next video. Much love.